What's up, internet? Brian Spillwell here with another episode. Out here in Burbank, 2 a.m. in the morning, about 45 degrees. We headed out here to work, actually. This is gonna be not so much a moto vlog, but I'm actually gonna be showing you you guys what I actually do for a living in histology. I get a lot of questions on IG about what I do for, for work and stuff, because I post some stuff on my stories every now and then, and people seem to be pretty interested. And believe it or not, it's a pretty good field to be in, because school's very minimum at that. I didn't have to go to any, fortunately, and you can make a really good, decent living and not work too hard, be in AC and nice conditioned rooms, yearly. Whew. What a ride, yo. It was freaking freezing. I gotta get some feeling back in my hands. Yeah, sorry if it's a little muffled right now. Obviously I do have my winter mask on, because like I said, I just had a nice little long ride from the Inland Empire all the way out here to Burbank, 60 miles away. And hey, it doesn't start off cold, but you end up real cold. Yeah, so we recently actually just moved to the spot that I'm currently going to. I actually used to work at the actual clinic center that's off of Magnolia out here, but we actually recently moved because of the expansion of the company. We got a lot more patients coming in, so we got our own lab over here now that's about a mile away from the facility. So they just bring us all the patient tissue specimens and drop them off over here. And this is actually a call center too now, where they schedule appointments. Like, it's kind of crazy because I've only been with this company 2 years, and it's just constantly expanding, which is, great for me, because I don't have to worry about job security. And here we are, home sweet home for the next 6 hours. This is our embedding machine. Get our cold plate going. All right, let's see. Now that we got a few things situated, we'll start off over here and drain today's stuff. Now this is the processor, and it actually basically has different types of xylene, formalin, strengths of alcohol, and it actually dehydrates the tissue, and it makes it basically stiff so that you can cut it. And over here is usually where it all starts out, where we get the paperwork, we get the site location, and figure out what we gotta cut and all that stuff. And then we'll basically bring the specimen over here, stage 1. We'll bring the specimen, the paperwork over here. We'll get a cassette, we'll number it, and then according to what the doctor wants, or what kind of tissue, excision, punch, whatever that is, we'll cut it. And then what we usually only use blue ink, because that's what they like here at this dermatology clinic. But obviously there's multiple different color inks for when you get bigger excisions and stuff of that nature, so they know the inner, outer, lateral, and all that stuff. You'll ink it differently according. And then once you get all your stuff done, it'll look like this right here. And these are waiting to be loaded on the processor. And over here is our embedding station now, where I've already embedded some of the blocks that we've cut, or that we've grossed. That's what that station over there is called, grossing now. This was just a single piece, so obviously there was no cutting, but as you can see, blue ink, so that when they're actually looking under the microscope, they can see the top edge of the skin. And this was most likely a shave, cut into 2 pieces, anything, and just according on how big the tissue is, that's how many times we'll cut it. It's not really specific. As you can see, this one has 3 pieces in it. It was a little bit bigger. Yeah, but this is the embedding station right here. As I said, we get the tissue that's already been dehydrated out of that processor over there.
And then we put in these different size cassettes, which I'm going to show you a few right now as soon as I clean this plate off real quick. And basically, this is how they come out after the machine has already done its it's usually a 8 to 10 hour process depending on how big and how many specimens are loaded in the processor. And then they'll come out like this, and then basically you look for your cut surface where they grossed it, and then you're gonna either, you know, put it on end, face down. If it's a punch, you want it on edge. You don't want the punch with the skin facing flat down. Then you just load it in the appropriate size cassette and then throw some paraffin in there, and that's what this stuff is. It's called paraffin. It's basically wax. Then there's different styles of forceps that you can actually use and stuff too, because some people like different ones. I don't really care. I use everything. I've been doing everything so long, none of this stuff matters to me anyways. You can see it starting to, this is a little cold plate right here, and the rest of this stuff is all heated. So that's how we get it to stay in place with the paraffin. Then we'll go ahead and grab these ones, and this is a microtome right here. So basically what we cut the tissue on. It has various micron adjustments, and that just basically means the thickness of the cuts. And this is your spinning wheel for up down, and then this is for your forward motion. So it's like, it's kind of weird. And it's funny because robots were supposed to take this job many years ago, and they still haven't figured out a automated cutting machine robot that can actually do this and then put the slide up in the water bath, because that's what this thing's called. I'll fill this up with hot water and basically when I throw my sections in there, it melts the basic outer wax paraffin away and still leaves the patient tissue, and then that's what we leave on the slide for staining for the next process. 90% of the time I'm always working alone. As you can see, there's nobody in here, and the actual nobody. Now the interesting stuff about this tissue is, you know, it may just look like little pieces of nothing, but it's literally, you know, pieces of people's eyebrows, you know, butt cheeks, you know, nose, your lip. You might have a little, you know, skin tag. Cut those off, and we test those here as well. You know, everything's a different site location unless you see like a serial number, like these 1, 2, 3, 4. This is all one patient right here, this number, and then those 3 are another patient. We're just gonna go ahead and let this drain. And this is where we do special stains, PASs, GAMS, elastics, trichromes, and whatever per the doctor's request. But those are like specialty things. We only get like probably 15 to 20 of those a day instead of, you know, 200. This is my little Pyrex where I whip. And this is the good old stainer. After I cut them, goes into various alcohols, eosins, hematoxylins, and gives it a different color stain during each process. You know, there are all different variations at times in here too as well, to hydrate and dehydrate the tissue and separate all the paraffin completely to where you only have patient tissue on the slide. We'll just basically put the tissue right here to soak for about 5 to 10 minutes while I embed some more tissue. And then this stuff will be ready to cut. All right. So now got everything set up, ready to go. We got enough specimens to cut. So we're gonna get to work here. All right. Got our little Dura Edge blades. These things are like $100 a box, yo. They're expensive, and these things cut through nail and bone. Obviously, we soften the nails up, sometimes with a little bit of nair, or we got this stuff right here called decal. Softens tissue as well. They like the 4 microns. Other histology labs, and depending on special staining procedures too, require a different micron. You know, if you're doing a Congo red, sometimes you got to turn this thing up all the way to 10. But it's pretty much what we're doing right here. Bust out our slide, write down the patient number, get our slide ready, then boom, separate it with our forceps, and that's our slide. So basically, I'm gonna be doing this probably for the next 2 hours. You know, it took me about 2 hours of embedding over there. We got about probably 120 specimens out right now, which is more than enough for me for the day. We're actually behind and catching up on stuff, because Thursdays, like I said, Fridays, we do coverage for these pink blocks. Whoop. And so basically, what you're looking for right here is just clean, defined sections with no wrinkles in the actual patient tissue. Sometimes you might have a little wrinkle on the paraffin side, but that's completely fine. No wrinkles on the tissue whatsoever. And then straight down the middle of the slide. Get it as close as possible. Make it look pretty for them. Basically, we're gonna put those in there for 15 minutes, melt the paraffin off the sides.
We don't know how much more the sales are going to increase the demand for emergency food storage in the last couple of days.
So this is the stainer. We got xylenes, we got alcohols, we got eosins right here, we got bluing, we got some hematoxylin, and this is what does the primary staining for our H&E stains. Now, once these things are all done, come over here and we'll cover slip them. Basically just putting a xylene based glue and glass on top of here to complete the slide. Wipe off the excess. Luckily, I won't be doing that no more. We got this thing, we just came in. We just got to set it up, and this is actually going to be doing all that for us. Feeds through the slides and just has a tape on a roll and just pumps them out. But obviously, we didn't have time to set that up and get everything going on it. Basically, where you get your finished product, then you're going to get the paperwork. Depending on which hospital, which location, then separate it, put it in order, and then send it on out.
Alright guys, so now we're headed home, and now that you guys have actually seen what I actually do, you know, for a living, I'm gonna actually give you a little information on how to get into it. Actually very easy. There's a few different ways, and if you're in California, luckily out here in California, and there's about 15 other states, you do not have to have any schooling whatsoever. You can be trained directly underneath the pathologist. You can get in either by doing that, you can get in by a specimen delivery, which it'll actually teach you the basics of just protocol of handling tissue and stuff like that, and then they can work you up from there. Or you can actually go to the HTC or it's the HTL program, which is only 6 months of schooling, but now there's a couple requirements that to actually get into the HTL program that they want you to have. Before, you didn't have to have a bachelor's degree or an associate's. I've been working in the field for about a little over 10 years now, and you didn't need any of that before, but now they want you to have an associate's degree, and they're actually pushing for a bachelor's degree now. That's if you want to take the program, which isn't necessary, and I can tell you that firsthand, because you won't make any more money than a tech that's not licensed, and that's 100%. Yeah, you're not going to be making anything more. Most techs usually start around 40 to 45 starting, you know, your first year, but obviously there's big jump ups. There's no 50-cent dollar raise type deal in this kind of job. Your second year, you'll probably jump up into the 50s easy, and then after that, depending on the various positions that you learn, like you've seen those different stations, each one actually pays differently. A regular tech only does cutting. They don't know how to gross, they don't do embedding mostly, and they definitely don't know special stains or IHCs. And once you get into that, oh man, you can make up to 100K, you know, anywhere, and that's licensed or unlicensed, depending on how you want to do it. And the thing about the HTL program that is pretty fucking crazy, you have to have lab experience. And in your class, during your classes, they will give you little projects to do that you have to be, you know, in a pathology lab doing. And the shitty part about that, I've seen it firsthand, is because I supervised for 10 years at Kaiser, that when those techs come in and they're doing their project training and, you know, learning the basics, dude, they get paid minimum wage to like $15 an hour, and that is just terrible. And that's all because they're trying to, you know, learn everything from the basics, and then they're not really there you know, full time. They're only there a few hours a day and stuff. But to be hired anywhere, actual hospital's gonna still want a year to 2 years experience regardless. Well, a lot of these people go into the program, right, and they don't actually get a job for, you know, a year, 2 years. They have to sit at the place where they trained at, getting, you know, basically jerked off pay wise, because they're not a real tech yet, you know. They're trying to get their license. Meanwhile, the guy who, you know, started off picking up specimens already had his first year's experience in, and he's probably making $25 an hour, you know, off cuff. And that's honestly how I've seen it go my whole career. And the way that they're changing, like I said, they want you to have more hours in class. They want you to have all these things that really don't have anything to do with histology at all, you know. Kind of just, you know, wears. And like I said, it's a money grab. It's honestly a money grab. They started these special classes, like I said, it's all brand new relatively, you know, like I said, within the last 10 years, you know. Like I said, when I started off as nothing, just a specimen grabber, and I was making already at that time $15 an hour, and that was like 2007, you know. And as soon as I started learning, like, they gave me the opportunity to cut, and I thought, I was like, oh, I could do that, that looks easy. So for me, the best way I could only say, like, time wise, you know, save yourself some money. The program's relatively cheap. It's only like, I think, no, it's not anymore, it's actually 5 G's for one course. And
So like I said, you can get into histology a few different ways. Like I said, that's the way that I got in, and that's the way I would actually recommend, so that you're not wasting time, you're getting paid more, and like I said, you jump right into a lot more than the people who, like I said, because you'll be stuck with projects. You'll have to identify a vas deferens and then show them a slide, and then you're gonna have to read cell representation and, you know, stuff like that. When you're actually just working, you're cutting the patient tissue, sending it to the stainer, and then, you know, the next people are handling that. So you're moving a lot more product out for the company you're working with. So obviously you're going to be paid more, you're going to be worth more than the guy who's still going to school, who's there part-time. And like I said, I've seen these people. Sometimes the course is only supposed to take 5 to 6 months at most, at very most. I've seen people go 2 years making minimum wage, all to get their license. And, you know, of course they got out, they go into bigger labs, but the experience, again, isn't there because they weren't cutting full-time. And, you know, I know people that I've trained that are in, you know, the Children's Hospital, Loma Linda University, and they're not making shit. Like, you know, sadly, compared to what I make, and, you know, I don't have any bosses or anything like that, you know, because they're still in there, only what, a few years experience. So they're only making, you know, the 50 grand mark around there now, if they're lucky. And like I said, most places will not fully train you on every single department of a histology lab, but when you get in, like I said, the way I did, you will be able to advance like that. You know, the opportunities are there. And it, you know, like I said, you want to work in AC all day, never have to worry about the heat. Yeah, I commute now, but I used to work really close to home, but the labs out there just aren't paying enough. And, you know, if I want to make another 20 grand, I'm gonna drive an hour, yo. It's honestly that simple, you know, because pay rates in LA are a lot better. You start off around 60 to 100K all day out here. San Bernardino area, even if you've been in the game for a few years, Loma Linda offered me a position for like 50K, and I was like, can't do it, bro. Like, I was making that, you know, 8 years ago, starting out, like, nah. But it's definitely a great field, you know. Like I said, I chill every day. I barely work. As you guys see, I have no coworkers, no boss. I do what I want when I want. You know, it's my choice. I usually skip my lunches because I go home sooner, you know. It's that great of a position, you know. And the benefits, obviously, you're in healthcare, you got great 401k, your family benefits are great everywhere you go to. So it's just really a good, simple, beneficial job, and I love it because, you know what, at the end of the day, I've helped people cure cancer, you know, tumors of various sorts, you know, that I was able to see that are benign, to know that people are going to be great, you know, that they're going to be able to beat whatever sickness they're doing. And, you know, helping these dirty motherfuckers who out here like catching STDs get healthy, man. Let you know you got that herpes, you know, and what's simplex. So, you know, it's rewarding to help people, you know, for me in that aspect. So this is why I kind of wanted to show you guys, you know, what I went through. I mean, it probably was a little bit boring, obviously. That's why I kind of wanted to explain more of this, of the outside stuff and schooling and how to get into it on the bike, so you weren't just in there seeing that shit, you know, for a 10-minute video. You know, kind of kept it short and sweet in there. You got the gist of it. But that is Histology 101 for you guys. And this is Brian Spillwell, and I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up and get my ass home safe and sound and take me a nap for the day. You guys have a good one. Subscribe, share if you guys can, and peace. See you guys.